Okay, turns out discourse moves faster than I can edit. So for context, the majority of this video I filmed when Chappell was getting canceled for setting boundaries and loving her Republican family, and so I'm gonna have to jump in with some updates. I'm gonna address the endorsement discourse, and the mental health conversation, and the festival cancellations, and the SNL Mood Dang skit, and hopefully I can get this video out before nothing else happens. Turns out being a Chappell Roan apologist is a full-time job, but I'm happy to do it. Girl, get all the rest you need. Stay offline as long as you need to heal. Lord knows that's what I did. Not to brag or anything, but I do get recognized in public. I have been on the internet for about 10 years now. I've got some videos go viral in my past. I've developed a little bit of a humble audience, you know? And so every once in a while, I'll get recognized. I love it, to be honest. I think it's fun. I think it feeds my ego a little bit. You see me, but I don't see you. All I see is, like, comments, so it's fun to, like, put a face to an otherwise faceless audience. Usually I'm getting recognized at a concert or like an event that has a lot of people that would be in my demographic. So I'm prepared most of the time. Usually when I'm going to a concert, I'm already, you know, hype. I want to be social. I like trading candy, friendship bracelets, whatever you want to call them. I'm okay with being recognized in public and with having a small appropriate interaction. But I'm not Chappell Roan. I'm not Chappell Roan. I'm not getting recognized every time I leave my house. I get recognized maybe once every 6 months at a concert. But if it was happening at the Dunkin' Donuts, if I was getting yelled at from cars, if I was having to protect my family from stalkers, if I was getting doxxed regularly, if I had to have a security team because of how much I was recognized, yeah, I'd have to start setting some boundaries with my audience. I'd have to say something about it. And that's what Chappell Roan did. Chappell Roan has blown up overnight. She has to deal with what Taylor Swift had 15 years you know, of time to adjust to in like 6 months. I know that's not a direct comparison, but it's pretty, like, that's what we need to be thinking about, right? For people who say that she can't handle fame, like, maybe this is her handling it. I'm a Chappell Roan simp. That's what this video is about, okay? I am just going to talk about Chappell Roan and how I think that she is ushering in a new wave of how famous people exist. I think that she's the smartest celebrity in the world. I think that she is introducing a new way of being a celebrity, a new way of being famous. And I think that people who just want to violate the boundaries of celebrities for their own personal enjoyment are mad about it. She is just misunderstood by straight people. But first, I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I collect records, and today I'm gonna go pick up a record. Hopefully they have it, but of course it is The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess by Chappell Roan. I thought that since I'm making a video about Chappell Roan, I would take y'all with me. So let's go. H-O-T-T-O-G-O, you can take me hard to go. So this is the gay man version of Good Luck Babe that I made up to give me gender euphoria. You can kiss 100 girls in bars, shoot another shot just to fight the feeling. I feel like people are gonna accuse me of, appropriating a lesbian song, okay? Even in a video where I'm praising her and obsessed with her, okay? Listen, I just am a trans guy. I need a little bit of, like, pronoun changes every once in a while in a song to make me feel better about myself, okay? And you wake up next to her in the middle of the night with your head in your hand. She's nothing more than your wife, and you think about me all of those years ago. You're standing face to face with "I told you so." Thank you. Okay, let's go. They had it. Usually I do these unboxings in my car, but it's so hot and I don't think I could survive filming an unboxing in this way with the AC off, because I have to keep the AC off for the sound quality for you, literally for you. So I'm facing my fear, doing a little bit of a rejection sensitivity training. What is it called? Rejection exposure. I love that kind of stuff. So I found the most secluded table at this coffee shop that I like to go to. I don't know who this is, but he's gonna unbox my Chappell Roan album with me. Here she is. She's the most expensive album I've ever bought. I want to support my queen. Been waiting for this to come out, the first anniversary edition. So much has happened to Chappell in the time since she has released this album. But I like to keep the sticker. And you know what? I'm going to try to take it off. Y'all don't care. But I'll take the whole plastic wrap off and then I'll try to take off the sticker. And it's like impossible. So I'm going to try to take off the sticker before I take off the plastic wrap, but it still seems impossible. Maybe it's coming up. I just have to be very careful. Okay. This is why I'm making a video about it, because I need YouTube AdSense to pay for it. Okay, now I have the sticker, and but I still have to take off this, but I can't put the sticker anywhere because I want to put it on the vinyl. I'm also like, I don't want this vinyl to be on like a dirty table. I don't know why I didn't really think this through. I didn't film inside the store because I don't want to record strangers without them knowing, and I also don't want to ask. I think it's cringy to ask. So I literally just filmed my little feet. And they had plenty. They had like 5 copies or something. So I picked out the best one. Whenever there's multiple copies of a vinyl, you always want to look and pick out the best one. Now, I don't know if I want to put the sticker on this. So there's like an outer sleeve, right? This like die cut outer sleeve. They all have this like little notch here. I think that's obviously like where they took out the cutting. But some of them were like a little bit more bent around here that you want to avoid that. Some of them were like bent around the die cut, but I tried to pick the one with like the least amount of bends. But let's open it up. Let's see. I'll open it up like this. Wow. Yeah, I think I want to put the sticker on the inside cover. So this is the back. Or maybe I want to put it, what do y'all think? Not like y'all can answer me. Like this. Here's the gatefold. Wow. Wow. She's so pretty. What the heck? Okay, I'm gonna just like stop being a wimp and put it on the back of this. I don't really care that much about like resale. I'm gonna keep these forever, and they're gonna go to my children when I die. So like, I don't really care about like resale value or anything. So I'm just gonna put it back, and look, it goes really well with that. Okay, stop freaking out the sticker and just show them the vinyl, Brennan. Okay. But yeah, I usually do these on my second channel. I do vinyl unboxings every time I get a new vinyl. But go check out my second TikTok, Public Universal Bren, where I do like cute little vloggy TikToks and anything that doesn't like match the aesthetic of my regular TikTok. Anyway, so without further ado, let's see. It's 2 discs. Okay, it looks like all of the lyrics are on the envelope. Ooh. Sabrina Carpenter moment, as if she invented kissy marks. Okay, so this is coral. It's gonna be, I'm sorry, I don't mean to spoil the color, but wow. Okay, maybe I should, okay, wait a second. This is not coral. This is like bright orange. I don't know if you can tell. I'm not mad at it, but it is definitely not pink. Like, I think with coral, there's like definitely a little bit of like, it's gotta be a little pink. But this is fully orange. Okay. So there's so much drama with the way that vinyl like sellers and like UMG and like whoever produces the vinyls, whoever makes the description for the vinyls, like they are so bad at describing the actual color of the vinyl. And this is like a recurring drama. It happened to like Olivia Rodrigo, where like everybody thought that her deluxe album was going to be like a splatter on white, but it was actually a splatter on clear, and like instead of looking like a tie-dye red splatter, it looked like blood on clear, and there was so much drama.
This is what I wanted, okay? This is the pastels, and this is what I got!
This is a bit sad, to be honest.
Then I recently went to their website again, and they changed it to just show like the vinyl itself on a record player. I thought that was genius, like, and it perfectly displayed like what the actual color of the vinyl was. Imagine if companies just like fixed the problem that people were talking about. Like, wouldn't that be so cool if that happened more often? I was gonna show you, there's glitter everywhere on these. I don't know if you can see. I love the glitter, oh my gosh. This disc is empty on the D side. What if we had like a special anniversary, like little printing or something on this? I'm literally being so picky. I also would love a poster. I really want a Chappell Roan poster. I don't think any, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any of her vinyls come with a poster. And I would really love a vinyl to come with a poster because I love all of that. There's not even like a postcard or anything in this. It's just the glitter. But Chappell Roan can do whatever she wants. She can do no wrong. But let me show you the glitter on the inside. The way I've already gotten coffee on it is so funny. It's so me. But let me see. Will it focus? Can you see anything in there? No, you absolutely cannot, probably. But anyway, I love how I'm like trying to take such good care of it, but I literally already got coffee on it. That's so silly of me. Let me wipe that off. You could kiss a hungry boy. Remember how I was talking about like not worrying about resale? Yeah, I definitely shouldn't be worried about resale. And I shouldn't open vinyls right around my coffee. Dang it. That's what I get. That's what I get for doing a vinyl unboxing in public. Look at all these glitter. There's glitter everywhere. I'm putting it in. Shoot another shot just to find the feeling in my name. Glitter. You can kiss 100 boys in Mars. Shoot another shot just to find the feeling. Good luck, babe. Good luck, babe. I'm making sure not to like get it in the vinyl sleeve, but yeah, it does seem like glitter is a little bit dangerous around the vinyls. Okay, it's getting everywhere. But cute. That is the Chappell Roan first anniversary edition with the die cut sleeve and the bright orange vinyls. Not coral. Not coral. Try again, Chappell. Try again. Okay, I'm struggling to get this back in. Maybe I should try not to get more coffee on it. Okay, this is... I don't know how to get this back in. You can kiss 100 boys in bars. Shoot another shot just to find the feeling. Alright, let's go home and finish all of my thoughts about Chappell Roan. Okay, I'm home now. She's home with me, but I have to correct the record. I lied. Okay, I forgot that this is not the most expensive, the most money I've spent on a record. Oh my gosh, there's literally glitter like on my arm. Okay, this is actually the most expensive record I have. It is Something to Give Each Other by Troye Sivan. It's the special edition. It's the pink vinyl. Okay, let me show you. Let me show you. How do I get him out? Maybe I should get... Do I get him out first? Yes. Harry is going to go back in because we're booting Harry from my wall and we're replacing him with Chappell. I could probably make a whole video about Something to Give Each Other as an album. I think it's vastly misunderstood. Or maybe I'm just pretentious about it. But I brought it down to show you that it's pink. This is more coral than what this was supposed to be. It's pink. It's really cute. I love it so much. But I spent so much money on it because when I saw it, the American store was out of stock, but the Australian store wasn't. This is not my favorite pose of his. I think he looks like he's in the fetal position, and I don't even know if I'm allowed to show this on YouTube, but I love Troye Sivan. I've loved him since before he was making music, when he was winking at the camera. I think I spent like $100 on this. Listen, okay, it was because of the international shipping. It's because I ordered it from the Australian store because it was sold out in the American store, okay, and I really wanted the pink vinyl, and this is the first vinyl I ever got, okay? This is how collections work, okay? You're gonna spend an absurd amount of money on things that perhaps maybe you shouldn't spend that much money on just for the sake of collecting it. And it's my favorite cover of any album I've ever seen in my entire life, to be completely honest. But also this is a really good cover too. They're both really good covers. I'm gonna put them next to each other, okay? My little YouTubers turned famous, okay?
Taylor Swift, no beef, how they're torturing Rodrigo, okay. Blah, 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 blah. It was really fun to see her to rise in the way that she is, very heterosexual. There's a lot of things on Pet can be absolutely very difficult. How people like men and women. Renee Rapp duality that fit in men. My God, they're the new ABBA. Conan Gray and his new been a star. D'Amelio at all. It's kind of like the church and creating.
Of course, I'm watching Chronically Online Girl Explains Chappell Roan lore to just jog my memory, okay? I've already seen it when it came out. If you want, like, a less chaotic conversation about Chappell Roan, and you just want to see, like, the timeline of her life and, like, a good video about Chappell Roan, watch this one. I've been seeing so many out of context quotes from Chappell Roan from this article that I actually paid $8 to read the full thing. And if this video gets 1 like, I will post me reading the whole thing on YouTube, okay? Because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the out of context shit. I pay for a subscription and I'm still getting ads. That is actually so absurd of Rolling Stone to do that. This photo shoot has me gagged. Oh my gosh, y'all. Look. I wonder if I'm allowed to show you this. I think it's fair use. I'm doing commentary, okay? This is iconic. Oh, this is the one. This is the one that has the trans masks up. Okay, girl. Oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. This is a really long article. Do I have to read the whole thing? Chappell Roan is a pop supernova. Nothing about it has been easy. Her joyful pop anthems have connected with a massive audience, but getting her involved long odds and a lot of heartache. Her joyful pop anthems have connected with a massive audience, but getting here involved long odds and a lot of heartache, and fame is breaking her out a bit. Freaking her out a bit. Do you want to bedazzle my grinder? Literally a woman after my own heart. Chappell Roan is standing in front of a vintage armoire, holding the silver weed crushing tool and contemplating what to do today. It's a hot, gorgeous July Friday, and she has a rare day off in between her increasingly viral festival performances. The crimson curls that usually fall to her lower back are pinned up, her face bare except for a swipe of black liner around her eyes. In lieu of, say, a pink cowgirl suit or a Hannah Montana wig or a latex wrestling uniform, all of which she's worn on stage, she's opted for a gray cargo pants and a matching bodysuit. I wear gray and black IRL because I can't handle the shit that I wear on stage, she says. Love her. She's such a drag queen. The markings of her pop alter ego are all over the cozy one-bedroom house she recently began renting in a quiet suburban nabe outside of Los Angeles. Here in the makeshift craft room, just opposite the armoire, is a mannequin that acts as a Chappell Roan stand-in. Today, it's dressed in the sheer seafoam kimono from her casual video and the Statue of Liberty wig from her recent set at Governor's Ball. For $7.99 a month, I don't think that we should have typos in Our articles, Rolling Stone. Roan is not fully settled in here. Vintage lamps and half unpacked boxes dot the floor, but there are also just enough touches to make it feel like a home, like the thrifted jaded salt and pepper shakers on the dining table, or a couple of small pastel-hued watercolor paintings on the wall. It feels safe and warm for a house that has new as the life she's suddenly living. Since this spring, Roan has experienced the kind of rise that makes words like meteoric feel quaint. Back in April, she wrapped a stretch of dates opening for her friend Olivia Rodrigo. The tour gave momentum to Roan's fun, insanely memorable debut, The Rise and Fall of the Midwest Princess, released last September. Then came Coachella. Like the rest of the performances that weekend, Roan's afternoon set was broadcast live on YouTube, and while thousands watched in person, millions more were glued to their screens, sharing and reacting to clips and social media in real time. I just want to say, Olivia and Chappell's friendship is so cute. I loved when Olivia brought her on stage during that week where all the pop girlies were being a little bit gay. You know, Taylor Swift had Stevie Nicks on stage and like literally got on her knees and like bowed to her. And then Chappell Roan and Olivia Rodrigo did a little performance together. It was so cute. And then to top off the week, Sabrina Carpenter and Jenna Ortega do a little kiss in a cute little music video, and I loved that. It was so fun, so camp, so pop. I think all the pop girlies need to get back into being a little bit gay. Okay, there's no shortcuts when it comes to a Rolling Stone article. When she returned for Coachella's second weekend to an even bigger crowd than the first, Roan showed up as a bright pink butterfly. Ugh, I remember that fit. So cute. Stared down the barrel of the camera while calling herself, "I'm your favorite artist." Iconic moment for her. A nod to your favorite drag queen's favorite drag queen, Sasha Colby. I got distracted. I needed a little bit of a snack to hold me over. I'm still trying to catch up, Roan says, sitting at her dining table with her glue gun plugged in. She's so drag. She's so iconic. She's pulled a white utility cart between us. It's filled with enough crafting materials to make an elementary school teacher drool with envy. With Nora Jones softly playing off her phone, Roan lays out sheets of gems and rhinestones that she'll spend the next 3 hours meticulously gluing to the grinder, in between sips of the Bella Hadid smoothie from Erewhon.
It tastes like, it looks like pineapple, but it tastes like orange juice. And to me, it just tastes like orange juice and nothing else.
I can't really sleep that well because I have insomnia, she says. It's just so hard to chill. It's been a really hard adjustment. With her Erewhon smoothie, she's having such a hard time.
$19 for a smoothie?
I want to look up Chappell Roan's net worth. While the exact figures can vary, Chappell Roan's net worth is estimated to be around $500K to $1 million as of 2023. Oh, now it's estimated, according to this random article I found, it's estimated to be $6 million. After Coachella, the iconic moments kept coming. In June at Gov Ball, Roan was rolled out in a big red apple, dressed as Lady Liberty. I love that. The apple was a bong. She may have had the biggest crowd ever for a Lollapalooza set, and she wasn't even a headliner. That is such a big deal. I think it was like 80K people. And that was like a low estimate. 100,000 followers a day. At first, I was in severe denial, she recalls. They would literally show me some stats, and the only thing I could do is say, no, it's not like that. I couldn't say I am gaining success. She's an imposter syndrome queen. By August, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess had hit number 2 behind Taylor Swift's The Tortured Poets Department. Chappell Roan is going to make Taylor Swift come out as bi. This year, as pop music entered a moment when fans seemed particularly inclined to dance, party, and have fun, Chappell Roan was waiting for them. She had been writing huge anthems and creating her own drag persona. She manages to feel larger than life, but also raw, real, and tangible. A Midwest princess, the pop star of goodwill, as she put it. Oh, Olivia Rodrigo said this. I remember her walking into the studio one day and just flat out saying, "I don't give a fuck about what people say anymore. If I like it, then it's good," said Rodrigo. I could tell she actually meant it too. That's her magic. Olivia Rodrigo has a crush on Chappell Roan? And while Roan may seem like an overnight success to some, her career has been nearly a decade in the making against innumerable odds. 4 years ago, she had been dropped from her first label and left to pick up the pieces, but after a brief but crucial journey as an independent artist, Roan learned the value of trusting her own gut. She started to write songs that evoke queer joy and found a massive fandom along the way. What's so infuriating is how people are just now taking me seriously, she says. Like, you know what, bitch? I've been doing this shit and you're just now catching up. All right, I have an official apology to make. Okay, I made a TikTok about Chappell Roan. I said, just roll it. Just roll it. Y'all better hope that Atlantic Records has a world tour and several more albums in Chappell Roan's contract, because as soon as she is done fulfilling her legal obligations, she is going to disappear from the internet, from music. We will never hear from her again. I apologize. I literally just Googled what is Chappell Roan's record label, and the first thing that came up was Atlantic Records, so I'm sorry. I should have remembered from the Chronically Online video that Atlantic Records dropped her, and then she was like independent for a minute, and then she moved on to I think it's called Island Records, is her record label now. I could be wrong though. All right, I do not claim to be an authority on anything. Please do not trust me as a reliable source of information. Lots of people told me in the comments that it was wrong, so hopefully through that y'all know that I was wrong. And I apologize for not doing enough research, but yes, I actually wrote that as a note, so I'm gonna check off that I addressed that. Good. Apologize for getting her record label wrong. She was dropped by Atlantic Records and picked up by Island Records. I don't know. I think somebody in the comments said that was like Billie Eilish's record label, but I don't know. What else did I want to say about that? Oh, getting dropped by a record label. Okay, so from Chronically Online Girl was talking about how Chappell Roan was actually like thankful for being dropped by Atlantic Records, which is so true. It is so much better to be dropped by a record label than to be like held hostage by a record label, because a lot of times record labels will just like have artists that don't really know that much about the music industry. It especially happens from TV shows like The Voice, X Factor. Like they'll take these artists that are like just experiencing like a surge of popularity, and they'll just like sweet talk them into signing a record deal that's like 1 billion albums long and like it's impossible to get out of, and then they just kind of like don't really put any resources into them. For example, like they have to release 5 albums with this record label according to their contract, but the record label, like they just like, you know, don't really help them release anything, don't really like work on their music, and they just like prolong the process of releasing these albums, and they just kind of like hold artist hostage. It's like actually horrible, and like they should not be able to do this, and they basically just hold the artists so they can't make music elsewhere, but they don't want to like put the resources towards helping like making their albums. Actually, they just want to like literally like hold them hostage with their contracts. My point is, it's actually better to be dropped by a record label than it is to be like held to the contract. And so thank God she was dropped by Atlantic, because they were not going to support her career as well as she has been supported. So that's my spiel about that, and I'm gonna check it off of the points that I wanted to make in this video. Okay. Still, Roan never anticipated it would get this big. Normal as she once knew it no longer exists. As a working artist, she was happy to just see the shows grow. Now she's facing mounting pressure to not only live up to the person her fans want her to be, but to also figure out if and how she wants to keep things running at such a massive level. Part of me hopes I never have a hit again, because that no one will ever expect anything from me again, she says quietly. Oh, she got away. I'm a boy, I'm on testosterone. She got away. She's gonna get away. She's gonna leave the music industry, 'cause straight people are giving her such a hard time, and probably queer people too, because we hold our own community members to such a high standard of conduct. But there's another part of Roan, the girl whose career nearly killed her more than once, that still wants to fight to make this work. She's survived worse. It's my dream job, she says. I never know if it's going to be like this ever again, which is kind of scary. In the middle of the Ozarks, the Midwestern mountain range known for its natural beauty and conservative communities, sits Willard, Missouri. The town's population recently rose to just over 6,500. Chappell Roan was born in Willard in 1998. Before she became Chappell Roan, her high school was best known for having 2 graduates who competed in the Olympics, in volleyball and track and field. Her mom, a veterinarian, and her dad, a registered nurse, were 23 and in college when they had her. The oldest of 4, Chappell, as she explains, was difficult to raise. Angry, depressed, defiant, emotional, manipulative, mean. So relatable. I felt so miserable for my whole childhood. She would talk back and constantly get in trouble. All my parents would do was try their best. And maybe that's why I love her so much. Much later, she would be diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder as a teen. She had outlets, at least, that would temper her then undiagnosed mental illness. She loved the outdoors and loved to craft. She was also an athlete running at a state competition level, and she almost went to college for cross country. Chappell was pretty introverted back then. She made her own clothes and couldn't find community with even the class weirdos. I was just a freak and really shy and self-conscious and modest. The pendulum swung so far when I started writing pop music because I was like, I have to do my inner child justice and just be free. At age 13, she sang publicly for the first time at a talent show and won, then won again the next year. She's literally brilliant. A prodigy. 2 years after that, she wrote her first song about a boy she liked. They were the religious Midwestern version of Star-Crossed Lovers. She grew up non-denominational Christian. Her crush came from a devout Mormon family, relatable, that looked down on dating outside the faith. When he was preparing to go on his mission, not the mission. You know why they send the Mormons on the missions, right? They send them on the missions to, 1, separate them from whatever support system they've built at home outside of the church, and then put them in an unfamiliar location where their only allies are other Mormons, and then they go door to door, the doors get slammed in their face, and they learn that the world is an unwelcoming place for Mormons and that they need to stay with the church in order to survive. And it's like very much an indoctrination technique. It is not to spread Mormonism, it's to keep the Mormons that are already Mormon in the Mormon faith at a time when they're most impressionable, like their early 20s, 18 to 20, right, is where they're gonna be the most at risk of leaving the church. And so the best way to make sure that they stay is to like put them in an environment where like their church is the only support system that they have. So think about that next time a Mormon knocks on your door. You might have an opportunity to show them a little bit of kindness and perhaps be the seed that allows them to leave the church in the future. I went to Mormon girls camp. She was distraught and got her feelings out in a 5-minute boring ballad. Chappell and her Mormon crush didn't work out. He was such an a-hole, she admits now. He was so mean to me. He left for his mission, but she kept writing songs until one day she realized she was pretty good at that too. I dated an ultra-religious guy. Like my first relationship in college was with this guy from the Christian college in the area. He was so mean to me. Chappell Roan was born, you might say, at a summer camp in 2014 in the woods of the Pacific Northwest. As a teen, Chappell enrolled in a program for talented kids interested in exploring music and film. As the camp director recalls, she needed little mentoring. She arrived with Lennon McCarthy level songwriting skills. Literally a prodigy. of our time. That's first summer, she wrote a song called Die Young, a sweeping post-lord, sad girl pop moment that she would post on YouTube. It's the corniest song on earth, she says now, age 26. Corny or not, Die Young caught the attention of the right people. Within a few months, label execs began flying her parents out for showcases and meetings. She signed to Atlantic Records. She is not signed to them anymore. Okay, I corrected myself. I corrected the record when she was 17 she was 17. And in 2016, decided to forgo her birth name in favor of Chappell Roan. The new name was a tribute to her late grandfather, Dennis K. Chappell, whose favorite song was The Strawberry Roan, a classic cowboy ballad written by Curly Fletcher. For 2 years, Roan and her family would commute from Missouri to Los Angeles or New York for recording sessions and meetings. Roan missed her entire senior year of high school, skipping prom and graduation. In 2017, when she was 19, her Moody debut EP, School Nights, finally came out, and the following year, Roan decided to move to LA on her own. There she began to live openly as a queer woman. More recently, Roan has come out as a lesbian. I feel allowed to be who I want to be here, she told me in 2022. That changed everything. While Roan was coming of age, her career hit a bit of a standstill. She hired a new manager, Nick Robetsky, and told him she was sick of singing and performing depressing songs. She wanted her music to sound like a party. In 2018, Robetsky introduced her to Daniel Nigro, the former singer of the band As Tall as Lions and a writer-producer with credits on songs I don't know any of these names. She was very shy at first. He played her some super ethereal chords on his guitar. She liked it, so he recorded a loop. She just sat there and didn't say a word. I could tell she was writing in her notebook for like an hour. When she emerged from her notebook, she hopped on the mic and sang a song the world would come to know as Love Me Anyway. Over the next year, the pair worked on 2 more songs that would help transition Roan's career into the bolder pop direction she envisioned. Pink Pony Club, in particular, was a huge departure. Both Nigro and Roan knew in their bones it could reach a wider audience. According to Roan, however, Atlantic tried to discourage her from releasing it. Of course they did. They hate gay people. I was so devastated, she recalls. It made me second guess myself. When was that? Back in like 2019? It's not as marketable to be gay. And being gay is not allowed anymore. Like, it was allowed for maybe like from like 2010 to like maybe 2016. And now it's like not allowed anymore. So I get it. Like, Pink Pony Club, of course, would be shut down by Atlantic Records because like it missed the cutoff from when being gay was allowed. Roan and Nigro fought to get Pink Pony Club out, and Atlantic did, in fact, release it in April 2020. But while initial reactions to Roan's new pop era were positive, they weren't enough to keep her career afloat. That summer, as the entire industry floundered during the pandemic, Atlantic dropped her. Big mistake. Huge. The fall part of the rise and fall of the Midwest Princess. The same week she lost her label, her relationship of more than 4 years ended. Devastating. Later that year, after decades of not understanding why she was so sad and angry, she finally got her answer with the diagnosis of bipolar 2 disorder. At 22, her life and career were in limbo. Roan moved back to Missouri and tried to heal. I'm in that era. She and her family entered therapy together. It saved us, she explained. I was like, I can't go my whole life hating my parents for not knowing how to handle a really, really sick child. I was just miserable. Good for her. Some people have, like, the opportunity to make amends with their parents or, like, figure out a way to, like, coexist with their parents. I think if you're able to do that, like, at least try. Like, I think sometimes, like, we're just, like, really quick to cut people off. But to each their own. I'm not about to comment on how anybody survives. She spent the next year piecing her life back together. She worked at a drive-thru. Oh my gosh, roll that clip of that octopus guy from TikTok.
And in fact, I was once your drive-thru girl.
You worked at a drive-thru?
Yes, girl.
Which drive-thru?
I worked at a kiosk for scooters.
Oh, no, wait. There's a scooter drive-thru? What does that even mean? They hand you scooters through the window?
No, they didn't.
What does that mean?
No, it's scooters. It's a coffee kiosk in the Midwest. It's called Scooters.
Oh!
I love him so much. She worked at a drive-thru before moving back to LA and getting gigs as a nanny and production assistant. In the summer of 2021, she and Nigro connected and started working on the first songs she would release as an independent artist. Meanwhile, Roan began putting more intention into her presentation, channeling the drag community she adores and hiring a like-minded, daring creative director, Ramisha Satter. After she dropped Naked in Manhattan and My Kink is Karma, a fandom began to solidify. I'm trying to think back to like when I found out about Chappell Roan. Not to be a hipster or anything, but I did find out about her before her big rise to fame. Like, I found out about her like when she was gay famous, and I think it must have been Naked in Manhattan or My Kink is Karma, or maybe even Pink Pony Club. I started testosterone during the pandemic, and then pretty much as soon as like things started opening back up, I started going out. I was a club girly. I was a club gay. I don't know if we're gonna get to a point in this article where they talk about the Abbey, but I have a kinship with Chappell Roan because I too was at the Abbey all the time, dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I definitely cried and got rejected in the Abbey before, so like Chappell Roan's music is just so relatable to me on a spiritual level. I think it's a canon event for any gay person in LA to cry in the Abbey, and it happened to me more than once because I was there all the time. And I'm gonna check that off because I wrote that note as well. Pink Pony Club had already occurred a few million streams organically, and she was going viral for more than just her music. Jokes and memes about the industry and dating she posted on TikTok would get attention and laughs. Ugh, she's a TikTok girly, love her. I started gaining a lot of followers when I was being really insane on TikTok. During this time, Roan was posting and promoting her way through hypomania, a common feature of bipolar 2 that involves elevated mood and hyperactivity. I wasn't sleeping, she says. I was on the incorrect meds. I had the energy and the delusion, and realized that this app is fueled off of mental illness straight up. That is such a good point. Like, I didn't even know that she would make this point, but I have been talking about this forever. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen a person fully having an episode, like fully just having an episode on their TikTok account and just having a total breakdown, and TikTok feeding into it, right? Like, one of the most famous examples is Gabby Hanna. They can feed into your mental illnesses, especially if you're having a manic episode. Like, one of the things that you experience is this like God complex and this like need for like attention and validation. And TikTok, they will give you the worst kind of validation. They will feed your delusions. They will challenge your delusions. They will just give you attention, which is really all you need, whether it's negative or positive attention. All you really need to like fuel a manic episode is some kind of attention, and TikTok is the worst for it. I have seen so many breakdowns happen on TikTok. Honestly, like, if you can catch yourself, get off of TikTok if you are having any kind of mental crisis. It is not good. It is not a good app for that. And it's so interesting that Chappell Roan would bring that up. I feel that so deeply. It's getting dark outside, so I'm turning on a light, and I decided to do this standing, just for a little change of scenery. We still got like so much article to read. I don't know how editing Brennan is gonna do with me just reading through this article, but it is good because I'm hitting some of my points. In 2022, Roan entered outpatient therapy. She had been suicidal at other points around that time. She had, for the first time, actually planned how she would do it. Oh, thankfully, she had a clear enough mind to realize she hit bottom. In May of that year, she opened for Rodrigo, whom she befriended through Nigro, playing before 9,000 at the San Francisco date of Rodrigo's Sour Tour. After the show, she went right back to treatment. You never know, honestly, you never know what is happening behind the scenes in an artist's life, and I just wish people would have a little bit more understanding of where Chappell is coming from when they are criticizing her so ruthlessly. Like, I don't know. I just wish that, like, people would see who she is and where she's coming from, and understand that, like, she might be one of those few celebrities that is actually doing things out of the goodness of her heart and just trying to be an authentic version of herself in fame. I realized I can't live like this. I can't live being so depressed or feeling so lost that I want to kill myself. I just got my shit together, she says. She's grateful she sought help long before she experienced the immense sudden fame she's seeing now. I would not have been able to handle any of this even a year ago today. It would have been too much. Yeah, I think something divine kind of there was some divine intervention for Chappell Roan. I think that she has been a representation of the moment in a way no other pop star really is. Like, she's come in at a time where we are already, as a society, as Gen Z, as a generation, we are dismantling, you know, what it means to be a celebrity. Celebrity culture is not necessarily being destroyed, but just changed. And I think that she's really met that moment. I think that she is like the celebrity that is going to challenge celebrity culture in a way that we haven't seen before, at least in our generation. I think that she just speaks to this moment so well. So yeah, like, I'm so glad that, like, she got the help that she needed, because now she's in a place where she really can be that leader of this, you know, movement. By the time labels came knocking at the end of 2022, Roan had not only completed her debut album, but also had already booked and sold out an entire headlining tour. She took months to evaluate her new suitors. I put the labels through hell, she said. Hell, I was like, give me a pitch deck on how you would market me. Give me a deck on what you would do with my career. What do you see in 5 years? If you can't even do it in a hypothetical situation, you don't know how to figure it out. I'm definitely not signing to your ass. That is such an important mindset to put towards a contract. Whenever you are signing a contract with a huge company, a record label, with, like, for a TV deal, for a sponsorship on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, be assertive, advocate for yourself, like, get paid, make sure that this company is going to give you what you want, like, because they are going to try to screw you over. They're going to try to take advantage of the things that you don't know about the industry. You just have to expect it. And so advocate for what you want. Like, this is part of what I'm talking about when I say that she's dismantling celebrity culture. She is pulling back the veil so that people who come after her can advocate for themselves better in these scenarios. So many people get screwed over by companies that promise big things, but none of it is in the contract, and so they just get screwed. You have to be smart. You have to read through it. You have to know what your rights are. You have to know what is the going rate for what this company is asking you to do. What are other people around you in the same field getting paid? If you're signing a long-term contract, what is their plan to make that happen for you? What are they going to do if that doesn't happen for you? You've got to think about all these things. Roan ended up signing to Island via Nigro's new imprint, Amusement Records. There we go. There's a clarification. She's with Island now. Her second major label stint gave her the type of artistic freedom she craved, plus the money and resources a label can provide. She went from hot gluing gushers on shirts to wearing a custom-made swan dress on The Tonight Show and couture on stage. Roan remembers Atlantic warning her that pursuing too many styles or diverging from the brand she was creating as a teenager would never work. Now Roan's entire career thrives on those extremes and that weirdness. Through a spokesperson, Atlantic declined to comment for this story. Yeah, they better be embarrassed. And for years after it was released, Pink Pony Club has cracked the top 30. It feels so good to prove them wrong, because they weren't just a little wrong, she says. They were really, really, really wrong. To know that my gut instinct was right is the best feeling in the world. Purposeful revenge does not feel good, but revenge by accident feels awesome. I love her. I love that mindset. No revenge, just move forward, trust the universe, and let the pieces fall where they may. Roan just realized she forgot to text Orville Peck back. We're talking about how she's been inviting local drag queens to open her tour shows, an idea that had been inspired by the country singer I'll leave fucking Orville Peck on red because I can't get my shit together, sounding kind of exasperated by the thought. Then she remembers she owes Billie Eilish a text too. Oh my god, she's so famous. She's among the stars. This is just the state of her life these days. There are more than 200 unanswered texts in her phone, an unusual accrual for someone who is typically more prompt. It's not like me, she says. Nothing about my life is like me anymore. Ugh. Heartbreaking. I feel like I just let myself down so much because I'm not how I used to be. The more everyone knows who she is, the less she feels connected to who she used to be. My brain is so scattered, and I just don't feel like myself, she says. A sentiment she keeps repeating. I met this girl that I really like, but I can't commit because I feel like no one understands me. I don't want to date another artist because they're fucking nuts. I'm so avoidant because I'm just like, she'll never get me. She'll never get me. Roan's new love interest is completely outside the industry and has been patient and understanding about the chaos at hand. She's so awesome and so secure in herself and has told me, no pressure, we can just be friends if you want. I'm just running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I'm just like, what? I can't get married. It is that type of delusion right now. Aww. I'm so happy for her. I hope that she has a healthy relationship outside of all of this. I think it's so great when artists like don't involve their relationship with the public. If you can maintain like whatever separation you can find between your public life and your private life, I think that that is gonna be very beneficial to like staying grounded. In June, in the middle of headlining Sept in Raleigh, North Carolina, Roan broke down. Between tears, Roan told the audience, I remember seeing this. Roan told the audience she feels a little off today because of how fast her career was going. I was trying so hard to do the theater kid thing and just be like, push through, be the character, she explains. I was worried of letting people down after they've seen these videos of me fucking serving. I wasn't serving that day, and I had to be honest. I remember that day, and I knew it. I knew that there was gonna be a moment before she, got on TikTok and told everyone to fuck off. I knew that there was gonna be a moment on stage, because that's what happens, when you are just so human, when you are just so in touch with who you are as a person, and when you, when everything is happening at once. She's getting so big, and she's, having to navigate all of this in the public eye. I just think that this is what I mean by for so long celebrities have had to have this veneer of fakeness, and have had to perform, and have had to put on a face to perform, and they've had to be these ethereal gods that were just untouchable by society. And now we have Chappell Roan, who's coming at this from a very human, very authentic place. You could just see that play out in real time. Roan has had to rethink how she interacts with fans and says no to most photos. One fan asked for a photo while Roan was having a fight with her girlfriend and was clearly in distress. This is what I'm talking about. We're getting into it. We're getting into this concept of when is a celebrity allowed to set boundaries, and it's when you are not treating them like a human being. They need to see me as a random bitch on the street, she says to me, a sentiment that she will repeat in a pair of TikToks about creepy fan behavior she'll post in August.
I'm a random bitch. You're a random bitch. Just think about that for a second, okay? I don't care that this crazy type of behavior comes along with the job, the career field I've chosen. That does not make it okay. That doesn't make it normal. I don't want whatever the fuck you think you're supposed to be entitled to whenever you see a celebrity. It's weird how people think that you know a person just because you see them online or you listen to the art they make. That's fucking weird. I'm allowed to say no to creepy behavior. Okay.
In any other context, so much of the things that we do to celebrities would just be unacceptable to a normal person, right? I think that paparazzi is horrible. There's so many violations of humanity when it comes to celebrities, and we can see it play out in their mental health. They are going to change once they reach a certain precipice of fame. They are affected by that. Suddenly she blurts out that she has a stalker, someone Roan had met back in Missouri. This person had shown up to her parents' home and even Roan's hotel room in New York. So now I have to have security, she admits. It's so lame. Like, she can't go party at the Abbey anymore. Like, she can't go do the things that inspired her music in the same way anymore, and that is just going to forever change her. I know that she's like very privileged and very successful and like she has an amazing life, but we need to like see Chappell Roan as like a person, and like what does fame do to a person? And what are the things that we as a society contribute to that make making music that is popular such a difficult career? Chappell Roan should be able to make music and also not fear for her life. And what are the things about celebrity culture that we can change? What are the things about stan culture, the things about idolizing celebrities, the things about celebrity worship that we can change as a generation, as a society, right? Like, maybe we don't need the paparazzi pictures. Maybe we don't need to know what Chappell Roan does in her free time to enjoy her music, right? Like, this is what I'm talking about when I say that Chappell Roan, through experiencing a rise to fame and being honest and authentic and censored about the whole process, she's giving us a glimpse into the problematic nature of celebrity culture and why it needs to be dismantled. Right? Maybe I'm just being pretentious, I don't know. There have been other disturbing incidents. When Roan flew to Seattle this July, fans got a hold of her flight information and met her at the airport. Literally, biggest fear. One man berated her about not signing an autograph until the airport police showed up. The same man was present with a group of paparazzi when she landed back at LAX. I got home and dropped to my knees. She says, I have a hard time crying now because of my meds, but I sobbed and was screaming. Ugh. In August, Roan was celebrating a friend's birthday at a bar when a fan grabbed and kissed her. Y'all, the reaction to her video on TikTok was so visceral and mean. Like, people were like, she just can't handle fame. She's just ungrateful, blah, blah, blah. Like, she wasn't talking about her fans hanging out outside of her show, you know, to get a glimpse of her getting into the car. She was talking about this. I'm surprised she wasn't meaner about it. I saw somebody make a video where they were like, I understand where Chappell Roan is coming from, but I think that I would have worded it like this. And it's like, I'm surprised that she didn't just get on TikTok and start cussing us all out. Like, immediately cussing us out and quitting music forever. Later that night, she learned someone called her dad after his number leaked online. That was the final straw for her. Prompted the TikToks as well as a similar statement she posted on Instagram. Fellow stars have reached out to see if Chappell is okay. Charli XCX was one of the first to do so, even during her big brat summer. Eilish has been keeping tabs on Roan and says, good luck, babe, is her favorite song of the year, even if Roan forgets to text her back. Hayley Williams DM'd her, offering to chat with Roan anytime. Hayley Williams is the strongest bitch ever, Roan says. Katy Perry told her to never read the comments. Lorde gave her a helpful list of things to do at an airport to fly under the radar. The band Muna hosted her for dinner. Miley Cyrus invited her to a party. Lady Gaga has passed along her phone number, though Roan has been too nervous to text or call. I think Lady Gaga walked so that Chappell Roan could run. I really think that those two pop stars really have so much in common. I think like Lady Gaga's paparazzi performance at the VMAs was kind of a similar critique that Chappell Roan is making in her TikToks, calling out weird fan behavior, Roan went on walks and grabbed coffees with Lucy Dacus and Julian Baker. I love them. I love Boy Genius. Their Boy Genius bandmate Phoebe Bridgers came over to Roan's just to hang, commiserating on how fandom behavior has become increasingly abusive and violent. Sabrina Carpenter, who's also had a shockingly massive year, suggested they meet up and unpack their summers. We're both going through something so fucking hard. She just feels like everything is flying and she's just barely hanging on, Roan says. It was just good to know someone else feels that way. Backstage at the Vic Theater in Chicago, Roan flashes her phone to show a lengthy email from Mitski she received that morning. I just wanted to humbly welcome you to the shittiest exclusive club in the world. The club where strangers think you belong to them and they find and harass your family members, it reads. Ugh! All of these celebrity women, especially women, are so much more subject to this scrutiny, stalker, harassment behavior than men. I mean, of course, male celebrities are experiencing this too, but I think women experience it at a higher rate. This just goes to show, like, I think they're listing all of the celebrities that Chappell has talked to just to say that, like, this isn't just a Chappell thing. Like, it's not just Chappell Roan that can't handle the fame and she's just, you know, she just doesn't get it. She just doesn't get what fame is, you know? This is to say, like, all of these celebrities absolutely can relate to her and want to help her, and they were all, like, in, like, a community support system to survive fame, you know? Roan stops herself while rattling off the list of her most famous contacts in her phone, aware of how it might come across. I'm not trying to name drop, she says. I'm trying to tell you there are girls who are good people, who are helping other girls out. I'm name dropping them because people just need to know that people are good people. You know what name I didn't read? Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is not reaching out to Chappell Roan. There has been a notable exception. Not a lot of boys have been like, let me know if you ever want to talk about it, she points out. Because boys hate lesbians. There have only been a few. Peck, Troye Sivan. Obviously, Troye Sivan is an early fan of Roan. Chappell Roan is the reason that we know Tronnor existed. For those of you that don't know, Tronnor was the ship name for the real people, Connor Franta and Troye Sivan, who were both YouTubers at the time. Around, like, I don't know, 2015, 2014-ish. They were being shipped heavy, probably because they were, like, in the gay YouTuber boy group. And they hung out a lot, and we were shipping everybody back then. The parasocial boundaries had not been developed at that time. That's all I have to say about that. We've kind of known over the past 10 years that Troye Sivan and Connor probably did date, but we never got confirmation until recently. Connor Franta went on a podcast and said,
I found it on YouTube with my boyfriend at the time. Like, we found the song. It had like no plays, but her voice was unbelievable. My boyfriend at the time. And
Troye Sivan and Connor Franta famously discovered Chappell Roan when she was getting maybe 1,000 views a video, and that's how we know for sure Connor Franta and Troye Sivan did date in real life. I think it's funny that we were like fans of real people and like that just their real normal lives, and so now that in the future when they talk about like their real normal lives at the time, like the whole fandom gets like, you know, woken up like a sleeper when Connor Franta was just talking about like his boyfriend at the time. Like, it's really not that big a deal. I don't really know what this means for us, knowing that Troye Sivan and Connor Franta actually dated, other than that fandom and shippers are very intuitive. Noah Kahan, love him too. I love Noah Kahan. And Elton John. I have to make a correction about Elton John too. I made a video, the same video that I was talking about this article in, actually, on TikTok, where I kind of implied that Elton John was a Trump supporter. It was kind of just in response to his, like, this little clip of an interview where he's like, you know, thanking Trump for like supporting his music or whatever. Like, it is still weird, but like I have to, you know, fact check, correct myself. Elton John is not really a Trump supporter. I'm sorry I suggested that Elton John was a Trump supporter. He's not. Okay. Correction. I need to do more research when I do TikToks. It's been sick to have artists that I've looked up to for many years, sometimes my whole life, reach out. Elton has been a fan since early 2023, having played Pink Pony Club on his Rocket Hour radio show. He had Roan and Nigro over for pizza this summer and has been checking on her, calling often from a random iCloud number that Roan did not at first realize was him. He attempted to reach her 11 times in 5 days. I thought a fucking fan found my iCloud, she says, laughing. I was so mad and was about to hand my phone to my friends like, yo, let's prank them. I finally answered it one day and it was Elton fucking John. I was telling him I was struggling a lot and he said, if you need to stop, say stop. And I am very protective of her, Elton says. She is kind, innocent, and wonderful. She is not Chappell Roan off stage, a bit like me. She is one of those people who I felt like I have known for a long time. Okay, I forgive you, Elton John. I forgive you. I take everything I've ever said negatively about you back, okay? Elton John, you're perfect, okay? We love you. Roan probably wouldn't have noticed the lack of dudes checking in if she wasn't becoming acutely aware of all of the industry's double standards. This is what I'm talking about. The term industry plant has been thrown around on social media, a meaningless phrase that Stan Twitter largely wields against women. Just because you don't know someone doesn't mean that they're an industry plant, she says. Did you ever consider maybe you're just out of the loop? And I saw somebody accuse Conan Gray of being an industry plant. Oh my god. And I get it, like, I don't know if industry plant is like a meaningless phrase that Stan Twitter made up. Industry plants do exist.
And you feeling confident, yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
She showed me what it was to cry.
That's what's going on.
The double standard became more apparent after Roan received backlash for those TikToks she posted in August. The videos started a larger conversation on social media about fame, entitlement, and what comes with the job. The critics, however, tended to ignore the type of safety concerns that might be jarring to a young woman who went from working as an artist for years in relative public anonymity until a couple of months ago. Roan's thought about chopping off her hair and dyeing it brown just to be able to go to the movies or bars or the grocery store again. What great symbolism for like having to mask or like having to, you know, hide yourself in order to like have a normal life. This is so Hannah Montana. The reality is that the same celebrities people online call more generous with fans shell out thousands or even millions on security in order to go outside. I don't want to be agoraphobic. That's how most of my peers feel, she says. Every fucking artist is on this page. Everyone is uncomfortable with fans. Some people just have more patience. I fucking don't. That is such a good point. Like, Taylor Swift has removed herself from fans so far that, like, she exists in another universe than us. Like, you think that she can like handle fame better or like cares about her fans more? No, she just has more security. For the 4th of July, Roan went back to Missouri. Her parents and 3 siblings are still there, excited about and supportive of the person the family's eldest daughter has morphed into. Still, the conservative, God-fearing Ozarks can be a minefield. On the 4th, she mostly checked her views at the door for the day to sit by the lake, watch the fireworks, and dodge awkward photo requests from family friends. Roan carries more empathy for her conservative relatives and friends back home than people on the coast sometimes understand. This is the line. This is the line. I have family that are very Republican, and they love me and I love them. It's so hard for kids who grew up on the coast to understand why maybe I can understand. And I understand all of it that was in me came from fear because I just didn't know. She feared her own sexual identity for a long time. I was scared of flamboyantly gay people because I was taught that, she says. I realized people hate flamboyantly gay people because it excludes femininity, and people hate women. Just little things like that you're like, oh my god, this is so fucked. Though her parents raised her as Christian, they have been immensely supportive of her daughter's career and coming out. It took a lot of unlearning, and there's still things I'm still confused about, and it's why I feel so uncomfortable being gay sometimes, she says. I don't get why this is such an issue for me. It shouldn't be, but something's just going on, and I need to just accept that. Roan has had to do some rewiring. Ingrained in her was deep shame about her own sexuality and self. She's taken parts of it in stride. She still wears the opal purity ring she and her family prayed over when she was younger. It's too pretty not to wear it, she says, showing it off like she just got engaged. Oh, so yeah, this is the moment where a lot of people are like, okay, so Chappell Roan can be like accepting of her conservative family members, but Taylor Swift can't hug a Trumpy. Chappell Roan is openly, unapologetically queer. Openly, unapologetically a lesbian. She is very gay. She brings gay people with her. She is in the community. She is very, very vocal and supportive of queer people and queer liberation in every aspect of her work, right? And I think that what she's kind of saying here, queer people with conservative families have such a nuanced relationship with their family. Some queer people, they're just like, it's not worth it, cut off my family. But some queer people they have to maintain that support system for whatever time they have to spend there in order to, get money to get out, get the infrastructure and the support system elsewhere to get out of that family dynamic. And some people, they love their family and they don't want to just cut off their family without trying to have some middle ground. Every queer person has a very complex relationship with their family, even if they're just going to cut off their family and move to LA and never think of them again. It's like they're still grieving that family. I think every queer person has relatives that don't accept them. Some decide to maintain that relationship and navigate that relationship. Some decide to cut that relationship off. Some work for years and years and years to try to bring their family with them, and it works. They come out, and then their previously homophobic family has more love and empathy and understanding and compassion for LGBT people in general because of the person that they love coming out. And I think having empathy and having understanding from where those views come from is different than accepting, and it's different than being totally okay with her conservative family. She literally critiques her conservative family and their beliefs by saying that she knows it comes from fear. So I don't think that's her giving her family a pass. I don't think that's her being totally okay with it. I think it's her just saying, I have a complex relationship with my family. I'm not gonna, cut off a main support system because they are still in this ultra religious, brainwashy mindset. Right? That's as deep as I want to get about that. I want to move away from trying to be any kind of authority on queer liberation or anything. This is just my 2 cents. This is just my thought process as a queer person with conservative family members. Y'all, I was literally born in Mississippi. I relate. Earlier this year, she confirmed she's a lesbian to her fans in the middle of a show in Ohio.
I hope you're happy.
She never had a good time sleeping with men, convincing herself she must be the problem. Finally, it's like, oh, I know why. It's because I'm gay and there's nothing actually wrong with me. I just wasn't supposed to be sleeping with men, and now I'm a little repulsed at the thought of even kissing a guy because no one's going to be as good as girls. Having been thrust into the stratosphere this summer, she's learning to just exist as a gay person without having to talk about it all the time. You don't necessarily have to be out loud out, she says. You can kind of silently celebrate if you would like. It's like, look, I love being gay. I just don't want to talk about it every second of every day. That's literally me. Literally me 1 second ago being like, I'm tired of talking about being gay. She's become part of a group of gay and queer women and non-binary artists who have taken over pop. Billie Eilish, Renee Rapp, Victoria Monet, Muna, Boy Genius among them. It's so nice that people have started to take queer artists seriously outside of their queerness, she says. At GovBall, Roan revealed to the audience that she had turned down an invite to the White House's Pride celebration. Before singing My Kink is Karma, she dedicated the song to the Biden administration, protesting its involvement in the destruction of Gaza and death of civilian Palestinians. Rolling Stone, I think that was a weird way to say genocide. We want liberty, justice, and freedom for all. When you do that, that's when I'll come. Chappell Roan is so iconic. At her house, Roan tells me she had something way worse planned. She was originally going to say yes, show up, and then refuse to perform. Instead, she would protest with some poetry. I had picked out some poems from Palestinian women, she says. I was trying to do it as tastefully as I could because all I wanted to do was yell. I had to find something that's tasteful and to the point and meaningful and not make it about me and how I feel. I don't know if I'll ever get that close in direct sight of the president ever in my life. This is my shot. She talked it through with her publicist, who was supportive but made a point. You fuck with the president and the government, your security is not the same, and neither is your family's. Her publicist was literally like, but you don't want the CIA to come after you, babes. I love that America has so much freedom of speech. Roan opted to turn down the invite, though there were some who misread what she felt was a pretty clear message. I saw a couple of TikToks where they were like, so she's pro-Trump. That's crazy. That is actually crazy. The internet is so unhinged. Roan's face contorts into disgust. It is not so black and white that you hate one and you like the other. No matter how you say it, people are still going to be pissed for fucking some reason. I'm not going to go to the White House because I am not going to be a monkey for pride. Ugh. I love her. That is so new age. That is so new age Popstar. And thank God I didn't go because they just made a huge statement about trans kids a couple weeks ago, she says, referring to the Biden administration stating its opposition to gender-affirming surgery for transgender minors in June. Isn't it so crazy how Democrats are kind of becoming Republicans? Like, isn't that so wild? The administration would walk back those comments a month later. Our access to care is so difficult, even for transgender adults, and the White House could be doing more. Joe Biden can be pulling out some executive orders to guarantee trans health care for all trans people in all states, but the Biden administration has consistently left it up to the states to do whatever the fuck they want with our health care. I need a minute. My visit to Roan's house took place a day after an embarrassing press conference hosted by then presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden. Roan and I commiserate over how horrifying both the presser and his recent debate with Trump had been. At the time, Roan's views echoed those of a lot of young voters, especially in the face of multiple wars, drag bans, and diminished healthcare access for both trans people and those seeking abortions. I'm pretty pretty fuck the government and fuck everything that's going on right now. She says, middle fingers in the air. I don't have a side because I hate both sides, and I'm so embarrassed about everything going on right now. Okay, so I was originally reading from just notes that I had written down, but y'all made me type up and print out a script. The story goes that while I was editing, a quote was pulled from a different article than the one that I was reading from The Guardian, where Chappell Roan says that there's problems on both sides, and liberals got really upset because that usually is a conservative dog whistle, and the pull quote was pretty damning. But anyone who wasn't already waiting in the wings to hate Chappell Roan knew that she was coming from a leftist perspective and basically saying that both sides support genocide. She also talks about this with Rolling Stone, but I didn't know about this discourse when I was reading the article, so this is all I said about it. I love her. I love her. I feel the same way. But now I think the conversation deserves a little bit more attention, so I am going to reread part of the Rolling Stone article that clarifies her point, and then I'm gonna go read the Guardian article that was pull quoted. Oh my god, so much reading. Later in July, of course, Biden would drop out of the race and Kamala Harris would become the Democratic nominee. I do concede that mispronouncing a candidate's name is bad optics, but is it as bad optics as sending billions of dollars to Israel and supporting their war in the Middle East? I don't know. Even after Roan turned down the White House invite, she would become a part of the campaign. Kamala HQ's official TikTok would use Femininomenon in a video edit. Harris Walt's camo hats bore a striking resemblance to Roan's Midwest Princess camo hat merch, down to the orange font. She would repost a side-by-side of the hats on X with the caption, "Is this real?" During the Democratic National Convention, Good Luck Babe soundtracked the Missouri delegation's roll call. I don't think that she owns a copyright on camo and orange font, but at the very least, like, it's bad optics for a presidential campaign to utilize music and branding from a popular musician in order to, like, capitalize on their image and appeal to Gen Z and Chappell Roan's audience without getting Chappell Roan's permission or endorsement. I think that that's just bad optics, as long as we're talking about optics. Right now, it's more important than ever to use your vote, and I will do whatever it takes to protect people's civil rights, especially the LGBTQ plus community, she tells me in August. Even here, she's saying, I will vote for whoever is more on the side of LGBTQ people. My ethics and values will always align with that, and that hasn't changed with a different nominee. I feel lucky to be alive during an incredibly historical time period when a woman of color is a presidential nominee. She's not even being that critical here. She's being nice. I think that she's trying to, you know, find a middle ground and, like, I'm just saying that, like, the poll quoting is egregious. Okay, now I feel the need to read the Guardian article that this quote was originally pulled from. I'm so tired of reading. I think it's so boring. But I feel like we just have to go to the original source. Someone has to read it, because I know that you're not going to go read it. And you shouldn't have to. I don't want to, okay? Some people say, and by some people I mean D'Angelo Wallace, says that it's on the fault or the responsibility of the communicator to not be vague in their opinions, but how can you control that when they're pulling things from your nuanced opinions in these articles, and they're pulling quotes maliciously and in order to make what you're saying, which is not vague, into something vague? I think it's the responsibility of the communicator to be as clear as possible, and the person receiving the information to take that communication in good faith, with nuance, with understanding, with an attempt to think critically about the whole statement rather than take bits and pieces of it to serve whatever narrative you want to serve in that moment. I think that it's a community effort for communication to be done efficiently. But I love D'Angelo Wallace. No hate to D'Angelo Wallace. I want to make that communication very clear. her. Okay, I'm just procrastinating on reading the Guardian article now. While it can seem like Roan hates every second of being a pop star, she lights up as she talks about how bigger budgets and more agency have transformed her shows. I get to feel the energy of the people. It's so cool to have shows so packed and have so much joy in the room. It's fun that my parents are so supportive. It's just so cool to see my family get excited about things that we never thought were possible. And she is using her newfound status for good. Since Roan became a headline act, she's invited local drag artists to support her, an idea suggested by her queer masked country singer Orville Peck. For every UK tour ticket sold, €1 goes to the LGBTQ+ rights charity Kaleidoscope Trust, and at the merch stand in Manchester, there are signed risograph prints selling for $100 with proceeds going to aid for Palestine. It's just my duty to help send resources to a community that is absolutely being destroyed. So not only is she talking about these issues that she really cares about, she's putting her money behind it. She's putting her platform behind it. She's bringing drag performers with her because she cares about drag. She's raising money for Palestine. She's raising money for queer charities and organizations. She's not just talking about these issues. She is doing things to help these issues that she cares about, right? Which is what we want artists to do. Okay, so this is the poll quote. This is the moment. I have so many issues with our government in every way, she says. There are so many things that I would want to change, so I don't feel pressured to endorse someone. There's problems on both sides. I encourage people to use their critical thinking skills. Use your vote. Vote small. Vote for what's going on in your city. The change she wants to see in the US in this election year, she says instantly, is trans rights. They cannot have cis people making decisions for trans people, period. Did y'all know that no trans people spoke at the DNC? Trans rights and anti-trans legislation and drag bans have been at the forefront of the progressive conversation in this country. And trans people did not have a place at the Democratic National Convention. You know who did? Cops and Republicans. Despite the difficulties, she is also enjoying growing into her status. This is important because so often I see people saying, like, she just complains. All she does is complain. So many good things come with being a famous celebrity. She never talks about that. She does talk about it. She's going to talk about it right here. You just don't see it because it's not beneficial to the algorithm for you to see Chappell Roan like being happy. It's awesome to say no to things even though they're offering a lot of money. I have the power to say no. And it is nice to have the pop star treatment. Roan stops and smiles, the biggest smile of the whole interview. There is a lot of fun. I did it. I read all of it. So it seems like Pop Flop left out some context that would have added some nuance to Chappell Roan's opinion, but that would not have gotten as much engagement, would it? We have to remember that in all of this discourse, Pop Flop, Pop Crave, Pop Clickbait, they are all pop culture accounts that just take whatever quotes from whatever trending public figure is gonna get the most engagement that day, and it works. It's rage bait. And I think we as a society need to get better at identifying rage bait and ignoring it. Okay, so I was kind of thinking I would go as quickly through the political discourse part as possible because I'm kind of trying to make like a positive vibe and like pretend like nothing horrible is happening in the world. I'm not a political scientist. I'm not an expert on any of this stuff, and it just stresses me out to like field the political thicket in my comments. But I also feel really strongly about this, and Chappell Roan is expressing feelings that are very common among young people and queer people and marginalized communities and leftists in America. And I think that this positioning is so often misconstrued, misinterpreted, and just straight up ignored a lot of the time in American politics, especially during an election season where there's this mindset that, you know, we just have to shut up and get the lesser of two evils elected. But I think this is when we should be talking about it, because this is when our elected officials or our candidates should prove to us that they are worthy of our vote. But here, I made this. All right, I made this and we're going to talk it through. It is inspired by V's TikTok. They did a much better job of explaining it, and they said a lot of really smart, good things. Go check out that TikTok.
People are assuming that we can't use these, but we can. And we are so capable. We can do better than this.
So here is what we think our politics looks like. We have Kamala on the left, the Democrats on the left, and Trump and the Republicans and the fascists are on the right. But in reality, this is not really representative of their policies or their belief systems or the things that they have done. They're actually both here. They're actually both right. Yes, Kamala is closer to the center and more left than Trump, for sure, but she's not left. She's pro-Israel, she's pro-military, doesn't really talk very much about climate change, all the things that are pretty right-leaning policies, right? Trump is farther, you know, he doesn't support LGBT rights, he is a fascist, right? Like he's on the right too. He's farther right than Kamala. And Chappell Roan is on the left. She's over here. She wants a free Palestine. She wants to end the war and destruction in the Middle East. Leftists also want universal health care, universal basic income, universal family leave, free education, the immediate implementation of climate change solutions. That's the left. This is the American politics. The left isn't really even represented in these two parties. So what Chappell is saying is, I want better. I think that both of these people are on the right and their policies are not going to be beneficial to the issues that I care about. However, I'm going to hold my nose and vote for Kamala Harris so that the worst guy doesn't get elected, right? Which is how a lot of people feel. But if people here and here and here say that Chappell just needs to shut up and vote because it's an election year and we need to pick the lesser of two evils, and Chappell is saying, I don't want the evil, that's not going to push Kamala left. That's actually going to push her right. Because she's saying, oh, okay, the leftists are going to hold their nose and vote for me regardless, so now I can focus on the never-Trumpers and the centrists and actually make my policies and my positions more conservative. So actually, she's moving right. Because we're holding our noses and shutting down any conversation and criticism of the Democrats who are already on the right, okay? So that's kind of what's happening here. The US is actually an extremely conservative and capitalist country, okay? But by, you know, propagandizing us and teaching us that this is how it works, they keep us from having these conversations, right? And bullying Chappell is not gonna move the Democrats left. It's actually gonna move them right, because Kamala is like, oh great, you know, anybody dissenting, anybody not endorsing me is getting bullied, and I don't have to change. I don't have to change my policies. I don't have to appeal to the left in any way. I can actually abandon them, which is what she has done, and say that I want the most lethal military force. That is a right-wing position there. I hope this helps, and hopefully in my future content I don't have to be this political, because it really does stress me out to talk about it.
And let's just move forward and all be smarter and happier and healthier and demand better and demand what we deserve.
But in case there's any confusion on where I stand, Free Palestine Forever, check out the top link in my bio and in the description to support the Alkhatib family. They are a family in Gaza that is just trying to survive. Thank you. So Chappell is expressing a frustration with the US government that a lot of Gen Z, leftist, queer, progressive Americans feel deeply, but she just has this spotlight on her now, so she's gonna get the brunt of the backlash for it. And we saw that play out last week, leading up to her canceling 2 festival sets at All Things Go in New York City and DC. Turns out not all things go. Has anyone made that joke yet? Chappell Roan has made it clear time and time again that if this thing causes her more harm than good, she's just gonna stop. It's not worth it to her. The fans aren't worth it. The fame isn't worth it. She is going to prioritize herself and her mental health because no one else is. And it's not like she just had a little tummy ache and didn't feel like it. As we discussed earlier in this article, she has bipolar 2 disorder. And you know what's not good for bipolar 2 disorder? Widespread vitriolic public backlash. The effects of bipolar 2 disorder when you're in a high stress situation can cause extremely harmful self-destructive behaviors. It can cause depressive episodes. It can cause a lot of issues for someone suffering from it. If you care about mental health, self-care, or workers' rights to paid sick leave, you should respect Chappell's decisions to cancel these performances to take care of herself. Her current performance schedule that was made in the beginning of this year does not make sense for where she's at now in her career after her explosion in popularity. All Things Go had her in 1-hour daytime sets. She wasn't even headlining. I think she needs to sit down and reevaluate her whole schedule for the rest of the year and figure out what makes more sense for her current position. I don't know if that means canceling a bunch of shows and rebooking bigger venues, if that means taking a break for the rest of the year to focus on her next album. But as it stands, it doesn't make sense that she performed at the VMAs in LA, then flew to London for a 1,500 seat theater, then flew back to the East Coast to perform in festivals at New York and then DC, like in the same weekend, all in like the same 2 weeks. It's not helpful for her mental health needs and also for the career that she has now. Of course, you're allowed to be disappointed. It's disappointing that you thought you were going to see Chappell and then you weren't able to, but welcome to the music industry. I'm sorry. Festival sets get canceled all the time. Concerts get canceled all the time. Sometimes while people are in their seats. That's just the music. I think that you can tell who is like a super consumer of Chappell's music just to get that Instagram story and who is like actually a fan of her or a fan of the music by how people are responding to this situation. It was a festival. The lineup was actually amazing. So amazing, in fact, that when Chappell Roan dropped out, I checked those resale sites and the prices went way down and I got a ticket. I got a last minute ticket because I wanted to see Conan Gray. He was amazing. I had so much fun. I discovered Medium Build, Holly Humberstone, Del Watergrap, and Muna, the very queer lesbian band that replaced Chappell Roan in DC. I knew some of their songs, but I am a fan now after seeing them live. Maren Morris brought on Hozier, and I was waiting at that stage to get as close to Conan Gray as possible, so this is how close I got to Hozier. Okay, like festivals are so cool and amazing, and when you buy festival tickets, you cannot just buy for one artist. Also, please get travel insurance and don't buy tickets you can't afford. I personally am a fan of the music, and in order for the music to be good, the artist has to be good. So I hope that Chappell Roan does whatever she needs to do to get in the right mindset to make her music. Also, eventually, I'll post a vlog of my All Things Go experience on my second TikTok, Public Universal Brand. Check it out. Oh my god, I'm really promoting my second TikTok. We have officially strayed too far from the original conversation. Let's get back to poor Brennan from last week, endlessly reading that damn Rolling Stone article. If I'm feeling merciful, I'll cut some of it, but I kind of want to leave in the whole thing to prove how ruthless pull quoting is. Like, they really read that whole article and just pulled that one thing. By the time Roan took the stage in Chicago's Grant Park on August 1st, Lollapalooza had become Chappellpalooza. She was everywhere without really trying. Lollapalooza reported later that a crowd of nearly 80,000 packed in to see Roan and her band dressed as 80s wrestlers surrounded by flexing bodybuilders.
We were doing Hot to Go. It was like ocean waves of like just seeing. It was crazy, but it was amazing. I was just like, I mean, it was sick. We broke the record, and it was awesome because they hate to say it, but a gay girl did it. Like,
based on both the bootleg merch stalls around the loop and the overhead drone footage of the audience, Roan has become the de facto owner of the pink cowboy hat, whose previous keepers were Harry Styles and Barbie, as if they're not similar overlapping audiences anyway. The day before she accidentally headlined Lolla, Roan plays a much more intimate show at the 1,400 capacity Vic Theater. The theme for the night is Chappell Roan Universe, where her fans were invited to recreate her looks. By 4 p.m., a city block length line of mostly girls dressed up in their Chappell Roan best, devil horns, pink cowboy hats, a full-blown Statue of Liberty costume, are waiting in the heat, listening in on sound check. Roan's running through the whole set with her band and army green cargos and a black shirt that says BDSM on it. After soundcheck, Roan runs down to her green room where the makings of her Marie Antoinette costume are spread out, complete with the white bouffant wig that will later fall off in the middle of Feminine On, sitting on a stand. "I'm going to do my nails while we talk," she says, gluing a red press-on from her chair. We run through her weekend when she's traveling to perform at 3 festivals back-to-back that turns into her going through the rest of the year, a European tour, and more festivals back in the States. She's been seeing her therapist twice a week, working on a plan to get her through December. "I think I'll have from November to mid-May off to write," she says. "How am I going to fucking write a record without being bored? I have to be bored and have nothing in my brain to get something out." Ugh, I like the idea that she's writing a new record. I feel like Chappell Roan is just gonna leave us. I think she's got away. I think that she's gonna get away. As soon as she's done with like whatever contract she's under, I think that she's gonna get away from us. The scrutiny and criticism of her has only gotten worse. So I definitely think that she's gonna get away. She's trying to get out. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her for a second. We don't deserve her. So far, she and Nigro have put together 5, maybe 6 songs that feel pretty good. They feel pretty good about. We have a country song. We have a dancey song. We have one that's really 80s. And we have one that's acoustic. And we have one that's really organic. Live band, 70s vibe. It's super weird, she says. Then there's The Subway, a song she's been playing. That's She's Got Away. She's got away. That's my favorite song. I love that song so much. She just doesn't think it'll be the next single. "I just like performing it," she says, shrugging. "I have 2 others that I really want to perform too, but I don't know what's next. When I don't know, it just hasn't hit me yet, because usually I know. I always have an answer. I don't think it's Subway." A word she loathes, flop, rattles around her brain. She went into recording new music not really worrying about anything, but now she's starting to feel the pressure to follow Good Luck Babe with something just as big. The next single needs to have more grit, whether that means more pop grit or rock grit or just bite to the lyrics, she explains. Lately, she's been obsessed with Joan Jett. Anything that I listen to, Joan Jett, Heart Gaga, I want to feel like them. So I'll just be inspired by that feeling and how I can capture it. With her nails applied and an iced decaf oat latte in hand, Roan picks up her phone to take a look at her most recent stats. The only person being streamed more than her that day is Kendrick Lamar, which is fucking nuts, she says. Oh my god, she repeats after each number she pulls up. Good Luck Babe has 409 million, Red Wine Supernova 173 million, and Hot to Go is clocking 168. Oh my god, Roan has been taking Elton's advice to say no. She's not doing anything that doesn't serve the music. All the money goes to the world building, she says. That's why I am saying no to every fucking brand deal right now, because I'm like, does it fit in this world? No, H&M does not fit in this world. Also, fuck H&M. No amount of money is going to make me consider working with anyone. It has to be 100% right. I love her. She is staying true to herself. She is not selling out. She is the revolution. Roan is starting to let herself bask in the ever-evolving lives of her songs. She loves hearing they're played in celebrity spaces. She loves hearing they are played in celebrity places. Oh, she loves hearing they're played in celebrity places like weddings and graduations. And she's on board with Hot to Go becoming a sports anthem. I just need to capture the British soccer people, she says, laughing. I need the World Cup to get on board with Hot to Go. And then I'm fucking set forever. She never really dreamt about fame. She wanted to take her friends on vacation, maybe buy a house one day in Seattle, her favorite city. I just dreamt about putting on my dream show, she says. As Roan walked on stage at Lollapalooza to a sea of pink items she requested her fans wear so she could see them more clearly, she cried. They were happy tears, the type that made her anxiety melt away, because in that moment, as she and her latex-wearing band got to perform her own music on their biggest stage yet, it all felt worth it. I love that. I love her. I love her. Okay, now I have to cancel this Rolling Stone subscription. I can't believe I did that. And these are my final thoughts, okay? These are my final things that I wanted to say about Chappell Roan. You know, I really thought at the time that they were the last thoughts, but alas, they are just more thoughts. This note just says Jimmy Fallon is scared of her. I think that Chappell Roan exists in a way that, like, intimidates straight people, and I think that that is something all queer people should strive for. She just wanted to be gay famous, now she's experiencing the scrutiny of straight people. Okay, so this is where I yapped about people being mad that she canceled those 2 shows in Europe to perform at the VMAs, but I already talked about how it's okay for artists to cancel shows sometimes, and I'm trying not to be too repetitive in this video, so I had to cut that part out, but I wanted to keep the VMA talk in, but now there's no seamless transition. With this performance in particular, it was so amazing to do at the VMAs because she burns down the castle, okay? Joan of Arc, I think, was her main inspiration, and Joan of Arc was this badass leader of French armies. She was like 14 years old or something, and she was burned at the stake for dressing like a man. So perfect person for Chappell Roan to portray. Instead of being burned at the stake, Chappell Roan burns down the castle, which is, you know, representative of burning down the systems of power that are currently in place. Perhaps burning down what traditional celebrity is expected to be. Perhaps changing celebrity culture. Perhaps it is symbolism for what this video is about. It all comes full circle. Yelling at a photographer at the VMAs. So what happened was there was a photographer. He was being rude. He said to shut the fuck up to somebody. And then she said, and that was just her not taking any shit from anybody and using her position of power to put someone in their place. And everyone that said that she just doesn't know how to handle fame, I think that she is handling fame. She's just handling it in a different way than you want her to. And I think that this is the new age of celebrity. Celebrities that stand up for themselves. Celebrities that pull back the veil of secrecy and performativism and the things that the public eye maybe has been protected from, has been covered up, in order to bring celebrities back down to earth, taking queer people with her, always crediting queens, having them open for her and stuff like that. She is doing the work that we want a lot of artists to do. There's this accusation of queerbaiting that goes around when artists will use the aesthetics of queer people in order to profit off of and appeal to the queer community without claiming an identity within the queer community, which is just like a little frustrating to see. But Chappell Roan does the exact opposite. She claims her queer identity proudly, strongly, unapologetically, constantly, and she's also bringing queer people with her. So I think Chappell Roan is just perfectly positioned to meet this moment in time where we are challenging celebrity culture. We're changing the way that we view celebrities, the way we treat them, the way we value them. We don't idolize people in the same way anymore. And we are entering this new age of celebrity where celebrities are just people making products for us. And we've kind of pulled back the veil of superiority that they have. I think that it's because she's older. She's coming into this fame much older. She's 26. She's actually my age. And I think what the backlash is, most of the backlash is that people just aren't expecting a female celebrity to have this level of self-assuredness, self-confidence, and ability to advocate for their needs this early on in their pop stardom. Because usually what we're seeing in the industry, especially when it comes to pop women and women in pop, is these young women that are being taken advantage of by creepy male producers, by big corporations that just see them as cash cows. And it's an industry that is just poison for young women coming into their own as people, coming into their bodies, coming into their new worlds and minds and personalities, and they can be taken advantage of, and they can be manipulated and torn down and really have to go through a significant self-esteem crisis before they reach where Chappell Roan is at with all of this confidence and self-assuredness. I think that we just, as a society, aren't prepared for that. We want Chappell Roan to feel bad. They want Chappell Roan to hate her body and hate herself so that the industry can take advantage of her and use her. But she's not going to allow that to happen. She's not going to be walked all over. She's not going to be manipulated because she knows the industry and she wants us to know the industry too, so that other young women entering this celebrity culture know how to advocate for themselves, know how to dismantle the pressures that are put upon them. And I just think that that is going to come with backlash, right? Like, Chappell Roan is not following the normal, expected path of a young woman in pop. And I think it's great. Over and over again, we're seeing this cycle of female celebrities, child celebrities, and celebrities in general crashing out, developing addictions and other unhealthy coping mechanisms to deal with an abusive industry. They're getting put under conservatorships and losing their autonomy in so many different ways in service to an audience that continues to demand more from them. And I think it's time for us to recognize what we do, how we fuel the industry to be so exploitative and abusive and harmful for these people, because that's who they are. They're not idols, they're not gods, they're just people. Oh my god, this is where I have to talk about SNL. So after the Chappell discourse on the internet, of course SNL had to do a skit about it, and Bowen Yang, dressed as Moodang, did a sketch where he drew comparisons between Moodang experiencing harassment in fame and Chappell Roan experiencing harassment in fame. Some people say that it was mocking Chappell Chappell Roan and her mental health issues, and Bowen Yang says that he was on her side, and it was more of a commentary about how people are treating Chappell Roan like a zoo animal and like forcing her to perform for them and stuff like that. And honestly, I don't really care that much. SNL has always handled internet discourse with a sort of tone deafness and boomer humor that I feel like is not even worth discussion. Like, it's just not that funny to me. It's kind of predictable. It's kind of boring. We as a society need to get better at identifying rage bait and ignoring it. But what is interesting is that Chappell Roan is set to perform on SNL. So I don't know what would be funnier. If she just canceled her performance right before the show, or if she did a whole Moodang themed set. Like, just picture it. She's in the hippo costume. She gets the hose. There's a flash dance moment. I can see that for her. But anyway, this whole video is just to say that Chappell Roan is a whole person with complex, nuanced opinions, feelings, and artistic expression. I think as she navigates her fame authentically, openly, and a bit too honestly, she's going to get in trouble with the internet, but if we listen to her, if we take her seriously, if we watch what she does, she might just lead us into a new age of celebrity. Musicians should not have to have mental breakdowns, survive industry abuse, and deal with stalking and harassment just to create music for us to listen to. And at the end of the day, it's about the music. Is there a way that we can get back to the music? Is there a way you can play a song with a fucking beat? Chappell Roan's music is amazing. Go stream The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess anywhere where music is available. Thank you all so much for watching this silly little video. I hope it wasn't too all over the place. I'm having fun making videos like this. I'm also making a lot of TikToks. I'm going live on TikTok all the time. If this video does well, I will do a lot more of them, and I am excited to be doing content in a way that I want to now. Thank you for watching!